Hi, I'd love to walk you through authoring and publishing a custom GritQL query. So in Next 14, Next.js replaced the onload component complete handler with a onload handler. So we want to make a very simple GritQL pattern that's going to handle this for us. So let's go ahead and create a new file here in VS Code. And we can just put it in our .grit/patterns directory. And then let's call it Next 14 onload. Onload. And then we can have a header for this. So this is just a normal Markdown document. You can have, whatever descriptions you want, all the normal things. So let's say next 14, image upgrade, right? You can have a description for this, handle next 14 deprecations. And then the important thing is that the first code block within any grit pattern within the .grit directory, that's where it's actually going to look for the pattern. So we want to label this as grit, and then we can actually say we can start to put our queries in there. And in grit, we usually do example-driven development. So these are the first thing you should try to do when you're writing a pattern is find some test cases. So basic case here, and we'll find the before and the after. So within the Markdown doc, under the H2 are always pairs of code blocks. So the before is the first code block, the after is the second code block. This mirrors the common format of many migration guides. So if we go down here, we'll find the old syntax of onload and complete. Let's just put that in here in a JS code block. And then we want to find how that should be replaced. Right? So I believe it's just down here. We can grab the same example over here. Right? And one thing you'll see here is that Grit is actually giving us real-time attempt to compile. One of the things that the VS Code extension does is when you're in a Grit Markdown file, it'll attempt to compile the pattern for you, as well as do a lot of auto matching and visibility, so it's really a full authoring experience. So if we want to make a basic Grit pattern, first thing we're going to do is say that we're targeting JavaScript with this. So we say language.js. And then a basic Grit pattern is usually just a code block within backticks. So there we go. We can see it's starting to match already. There's actually built-in match highlighting for the VS Code extension. So this match here is going to show us that it's actually matching that. And we see that there's an error, right? It says it's the test because the expected output, which is the transformation of becoming like this, isn't happening yet, right? Easy to fix though. We can go ahead and just grab the case here, right? Grab the output and put that on the right-hand side. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that here. And now we have a nice green tick. So that's a super basic pattern, right? Now this isn't quite right yet because obviously this is just super hard coded to this case, right? We want to make this a little more general, right? So one of the things that we will want to do is we need to handle some additional cases. So let's go ahead and handle cases with more props, right? Like if there's already a source, for example, that's not going to work right now. Right, you can see the expected output didn't actually match because we're not matching this. This isn't being highlighted. So let's add source down here. And we need to make this a little bit more general because we're just going to look for our image components and they're going to have attributes, right? So now we can see that we are successfully highlighting and matching both examples, but we want to do some stuff inside the attributes. So the attributes contains, right? So it's going to contain a onloading complete callback. So there we go. Contains onload complete, something like that. And we will probably want to rewrite that onloading complete into a onload here, right? So I'm going to rewrite that. And this is getting us somewhere of the way there, but it's still not all the way, right? One of the other problems that we have with this is it's not actually dealing correctly with the body here, right? Like the body doesn't hard-coded to that. We want to use a meta variable for the body. So let's go ahead and use a meta variable on both sides. And there we go. Matches are still in place. But we're going to want to actually also rewrite the accesses from using the image tag to using the e.target, right? So we can go ahead and see also where this is failing. If you want to drill into any of the editor components, you can always go into the test runs, continuously run in the background. You can see what's expected and what Grit's currently doing, but it's doing most of the stuff, but it's still trying to target the image tag. Right? So you can see here, we want to grab what was previously image, and we'll always just use E as our new event handler. And anywhere that we're accessing image within the body, we want to rewrite that. So we want to say body maybe contains. The maybe here is because they don't necessarily use the actual handler, right? You can have a handler that doesn't actually call it. And then we can actually just rewrite image, right? So this is going to use that same variable that was bound up there into e.target. And there we go, right? Our examples are both green. This is good as a pattern. It's been fully tested. And this should work pretty well on most repositories, I would guess. Obviously, as you gather more cases where it doesn't work, you just gather more test cases right here directly into the Grit file. And then one of the other things you can do is this is all built into the CLI as well. So if I want to do a test on this, I can do Grit patterns test, and I can do a filter to next 14 on mode. All right, and there we go. It's great. So just confirming what we already knew.